how to make an impact with your book. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Hey y'all, hey. I'm Allison Denise, and business and ministry minded authors hire me when they want to strategically and beautifully design, publish, and launch their nonfiction books into the world. I get this question a lot after having published over 200 plus authors in the last 8 years. What I've come to realize is that people know how to publish, they know how to write, they know how to publish and all the things, and they think that somehow that's going to magically make all the sales, make all the impact, and they're just done. That's not the case. It just doesn't work like that. And so particularly for authors who write nonfiction books that are meant to increase your business and or your ministry, you have to market your book so that you can have more sales and more impact. Now, the question that really we should be asking ourselves is, what exactly is impact? Okay, and how do we know when we've made one? An impact is defined as having a strong effect on something or someone, or in simpler terms, it answers the question, how am I making a difference in the lives of my readers? In what ways are my readers better off having experienced my author brand or read my book? So a couple of things that I want to point out is that there's levels to this thing. There's levels to impact. That's the first thing. All right. So we can have a community level impact, meaning on a global scale. You know, we're impacting the world. We're impacting our city or our state. That's a more community level impact. And that can be a little bit difficult to achieve for one organization. Usually it takes multiple organizations and individuals to make community level impact. But how can you, as a self-published author, contribute to the community level impact? You do that by the individual level impact that you can have on your individual readers. So community level impact is the goal. We want to make the human race a better place, but we start with individual levels of impact to achieve that ultimate goal of community level impact. All right. Now, there are two core ingredients that are required in order to make an impact. And the first one is action, and the second one is audience. Impact needs an action, and impact needs an audience. If you have an action and no audience to impact, no impact can be made. If you're having an audience with no impact, nobody wants that either, right? So you must have those two things. You must have an action, what you're doing to the audience, who you're doing it to. Considering that you need an audience, right, to make an impact, the first thing that you want to do to make sure that your author brand and your books are making more impact is to make sure that you have an audience. And to do that, I always say this, I'm going to keep saying this, and I'm going to repeat it until everybody gets it. Building a community is the foundation of your author brand. Your reader experience is where it's at, okay? Your reader experience is where it's at. And you cannot have a reader experience without building some sort of community, whether that community is online, whether it's in person, locally, however you choose to do that, whether it's in your email list, however you choose to build your community, you need to build a community. So for example, when it comes to developing a community for your book, you want to develop a community around the main message of your book or your author brand. To give you an example of what I mean, we're going to talk about one of the books I published called The Heart of God for Her. So the main message of The Heart of God for Her is, woman, God loves you. in all of your stuff, all of your mess, everything you think you've done that would make him not love you, God loves you. And this book is going to show you how. That is the main message. So, in order to make an impact on the women who read this book, I created an online community. It was a Facebook group. And this group grew to about a couple hundred women. And in this group, we had different things going on. But the idea was we created a space, a safe space for these women to gather. And the impact that is made by creating the space alone is just saying, hey, you are not alone. And sometimes just knowing that you're not by yourself in the way that you think and feel is impact all by itself. All right. So that's the beginning. So we developed the community and we're already having impact by letting these women know that they are not alone. The second thing that we can do is to then develop that community. And the way that we can develop that community is by educating them, entertaining them, inspiring them to action. All right. So, how can you educate your community on your topic for your book, the main message of your book or your author brand? Using the same example, The Heart of God for Her, we put together webinars, there was a conference, we had trainings, just having conversations about the topic. We shared our opinions in the group, in the community with these women to express to them and demonstrate to them all of the ways that God demonstrates his love to us. So what that does is it created an impact for them by saying, hey, look at all of these examples of women throughout the Bible who did this and they did that and they did all manner of things, and God still loved them. God still showed up for them. God still was, he still considered them his leading ladies. All right. So the impact there is now not only do you realize, hey, I'm not alone, but look at all these wonderful examples of women who have gone through all of these things and did all of these things, and God still showed up for them. That example is the impact, right? So we've created the community, we cultivate the community. The next thing that we want to do, number 3, we need to create a dialogue around the main message of the book. So whatever that is, the main message of your book or your author brand, create a dialogue. What this does is it takes you off the pedestal, right? And it brings your readers into the conversation. So it's not just you talking at them all the time. Now you get to talk with them. They get to talk with you, right? And when you open up this dialogue, it creates a space to make them feel seen, heard, and included, right? Another form of impact in the lives of your readers. If they get to talk and share their perspective on things and listen to others' perspectives. And again, we're all coming back to understanding that you're not alone in this thing that you're going through. And here are some examples of how someone else went through and overcame that thing. And now, guess what? I see you. I hear you. You can sit with us. Okay. So that can have impact on people's lives, because in everyday life, some people just do not receive that. They don't feel heard, they don't feel seen, and they don't feel included. So when you can create a safe space where they can come in and feel those things, you will impact their hearts, right? And then we have one final thing, number 4. Number 4 is really about that community level of impact that we talked about earlier. It's about really doing the things that will position you as the author of this message to go out into the world, to expand your reach and really affect change on a community level, whether that's community in your family, your city, your state, your nation, or around the globe. These are a couple of the things that you can do to position yourself to affect change on a community level. Host events, speaking engagements. When you are hosting events or going and speaking on other people's stages, you are reaching more audiences, bigger audiences, farther audiences, which in turn means you are making more impact, okay? And that's the ultimate goal. In your community that you've created, you can make individual levels of impact. As you go out into the world, you can make more community levels of impact. And so ultimately, all of this leads back to the end result and the ultimate goal of more impact, more sales, which means more impact, which means more sales for your books and your author brand. Now, how do we know that we've made an impact? There are certain telltale signs that let us know we're making an impact. Testimonials and reviews tell the story. If you can get people to write reviews of your book after they've read it, positive reviews, sharing what they've experienced, what they have changed as a result, this will encourage other people to want to read the book if they want those same results. Testimonials are the exact same thing. Referrals and numbers also tell the story. So when I've read a good book, and I'm sure you can relate, don't you just want to run and tell somebody else, oh my gosh, you should read this book, okay? It was all of that and a bag of chips, and it helped me. It helped me overcome this. It helped me to do that. And now I know how to do this, that, and the third. You should read this book. That is the effect. That is the impact that you want to have on your readers. They then become the not so silent ambassadors for your author brand. Okay. And what does that lead to? Impact in their lives, more book sales for you, impact in more lives, and the cycle continues on and on and on. Ultimately, that is the goal, and it's all wrapped up in the reader experience that you create. And that reader experience starts with the community that you build for your readers. That is how you make more impact with your books. If this was helpful to you, give this video a like. Also share it with a fellow author, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any more of my how to sell more books and make more impact content. With that, I'm going to say ciao for now and happy selling.